Welcome back to the South African Morning. And the run-up to the municipal elections has highlighted the extent of the crisis at local government level. NGO Tshisimani and My Vote Count have been hosting workshops and webinars on this issue. Now, it wanted to find out what opportunities the polls present if there is a better system to deliver services. Let's discuss this with Zama Mthunzi from Tshisimani. Zama, many thanks for your time this Sunday morning. There's no doubt that local government in South Africa is in a state of unprecedented crisis.
Definitely. I think for everyone now, whether you're an individual who's struggling with access to electricity or water, or you're a big company that your operations are impacted and you're thinking of moving, municipalities failing are impacting people very, very difficult.
Right. Now, how is the state of local government directly affecting poor households? I think this is a particular focus for Tshisimani.
No, I think for us, investigating this question on why are municipalities failing and also the impact on local economies, we actually found that there's huge impacts on people's livelihoods and incomes. If we talk about the formal economy, we've seen companies taking municipalities, local municipalities to court. We've seen companies leaving municipalities and high job losses in local government. And I think, if you look at the cases now, you talk about Clover in Lichtenburg. Clover is the biggest producer of cheese. And it can't continue its operations there because, the municipality, the Zama municipality is not providing a secure water and electricity. We're talking about over 300 people who are about to lose their jobs there as Clover plans to leave northwest for Durban. So you have those cases. The famous case, of course, is Astral's Food, which is in northwest in the Lekwa municipality. They're threatening, to take they've taken the municipalities to court several times now, and there's over 3,000 jobs there that are on the line because the municipality is basically failing to deliver services. So there's those cases. We talk about Twiza in the Eastern Cape, in Ekomani, in that municipality that, has built a 15 million rand stadium. They can't deliver basic services. Twiza there is the biggest employer, and it's planning to close shop because they can't run operations. So we're talking specifically on how people are losing jobs because municipalities are failing. And we know, if you go around South Africa, all around factories, you always see, informal economies there. Mothers selling food to factory workers and other things that they sell there. They're also under threat to lose those forms of income. So we have huge impact on how municipalities are a huge contributor to poverty, are a huge contributor to unemployment. We know that it takes more money from poor households if there's electricity cuts and they now have to buy gas, for example. We talk about even in the informal economy whereby a hairdresser says, I can't do my job and do people's hair without water and electricity. We see shops selling food, saying there's sewage all over the place. People now don't come and buy food here because it's just running sewage. So there's huge implications if a municipality fails, and that we've seen how that contributes to job losses. We've seen that collapsing local economies. We've seen that taking away incomes and livelihoods. And this is a huge problem.
It's a huge problem indeed, and as you mentioned, jobs in South Africa, or lack thereof, are sitting at record highs currently. And in the same instant, or in the same breath, people are being encouraged to vote. And the big question here is that, will that vote change anything?
Well, when we speak on jobs specifically and economic development in general, you can't say you provide that. You can't promise that if you can't secure, the basic inputs of economic activity. You can't run a factory if you can't secure water. You can't run a factory or business if we can secure constant electricity. And we're saying that if political parties are out there promising jobs and promising economic development, they must also state that for that to happen, the basic inputs for economic development must be secured. And that's what we're bringing to the table, that we need political parties to understand that we're at a point where people are losing jobs. There's huge retrenchments that are happening, not just in terms of the companies leaving local municipalities, also cutting hours of work. Because if you're a worker and arrive at work at 6 and there's load shedding or there's electricity that is cut for the next 4 hours, it means you're not working for the next 4 hours, you're losing your income. And to restart a factory, it doesn't take 10 minutes. So even if electricity comes back after that 4 hours, you need another 2 hours to restart and economic activity. So it's important that when people think about voting, think about these things, and also see how municipalities that are failing are basically making them poorer. It's not just 2 minutes, we don't have electricity. It's actually a huge economic issue.
Yeah, and I'm going to play devil's advocate because we're talking about a basket of basic services that people are entitled to as citizens in a democratic industry. But then you'll find municipalities and the likes of Eskom arguing that they need tariffs to be higher so that they can meet their obligations. Municipalities will argue that residents don't pay for their basic goods and services that they should be paying for, or that there are not enough resources. What would your response to that be in terms of the lack of service delivery that municipalities or Eskom, as an example, would be providing?
Well, I mean, that's the complex, thing about the situation is that, I mean, most of the municipalities owe Eskom billions and billions of rands. Most of these municipalities fail audits year in, year out. And we see this as something that pans out. And when they can't pay Eskom, they now squeeze on residences. And we say, I mean, some of these residents can't put food on the table before even we think about paying rates. And I think that solution has proven to be very difficult because people just don't pay. And I mean, there's monies that are secured to deliver these basic services. For example, the free basic policy has been there for years now, that there's money that is taken from the equitable share from Treasury, distributed to municipalities for free basic electricity. But what do some municipalities do? They take that money and spend it on something else. And there's no laws.
15 million rand stadiums is what they do with that money. Zama, thank you so much for those. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem.
That's the problem indeed. Zama, thank you so much for your time this morning. Zama Mthunzi from Tshisimani, an NGO looking at the lack of basic services that people around the country get because of corruption and the lack of service delivery from their municipalities.